Hello, hello, all. Thank you for joining us again on the Almost Brothers podcast. Hey, will you do us a favor? If this podcast has meant something to you and encouraged you, will you consider becoming a monthly supporter? You could do $3, $5, $8, or $10 a month. What this does is this helps financially support the podcast so that we can continue to put out content and help better serve you. So if you would, down in the show notes, you can click the link, support, and become a monthly member. We love you. New episode coming your way.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about choices and how they can completely change your life for the good or for the bad. Coming up. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode. Do we call it brand new if it's recorded? I guess you have to call it brand new if it's recorded, right?
At least has the feeling of being brand new.
Right. Yeah. Brand new episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. Our second visual episode. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? Thank you all for checking us out on the YouTubes. We have gained some following on there, so it's going good in the one day that we've been on there. But if you would just do us that greatest favor at all, like, comment, and just caress that subscribe button. Just
caress it,
just ever so nicely. Subscribe, and please share with your friends. Help us get some traction and really get this going. I'm excited. How you doing, Jeremiah?
I'm doing good. I feel like my chair is like extra low over here today. I don't know what's going on. And I just hit the lever to like drop me down some more. And so I'm gaining no headway over here.
Just during the episode.
Just like I'm getting shorter.
Under the table. Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, other than my chair malfunctioning, things are good. Things are really good.
I love it. Yeah, it's kind of like, when we first started with the audio version, we were on just like a little mixer and kind of, we had to work the bugs out, a little bit at a time. And
yeah,
it's going to be the same way with the video.
Same way with this. We have this lovely fern back here, though.
Yes. Help us think of a name for the plant. George. I don't know.
Yeah, help us think of a better name.
Yeah, that's horrible. Sorry about that. So, yeah, we're talking about choices today. Another beautiful, beautiful topic from my man, Jeremiah.
Yeah. I was actually deer hunting driving.
Yeah.
And came up with that.
Have you got anything yet?
Man, I caught a cold. I've seen some deer, but it's been pretty tough. Yesterday was rough. It was raining the whole time and it was kind of cold. And I know it was right up your alley, but it was a little chilly out there and it was definitely wet. But no, I've just been enjoying going. It's not always about the kill; it's about the chase.
See, that sounds
right. No, it's not.
Absolutely not. So, it's bow season?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Bow hunting.
So I've only been out one time, and I wasn't hunting myself, but I just went out and hung out.
I've heard the story, and it's wonderful, and sometime we'll have to share that on here.
Absolutely.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was out there. That's where I come up with the idea of choices. Because I think, it started whenever you asked me to come up with a devotion for the youth at the lock-in that we're going to have. And I was trying to think, if I could tell them anything, what would it be? And, it's kind of like the Lord laid on my heart that, the importance and the just how heavy our choices are, even though they seem small, that even the littlest things can be huge on down the road.
Yeah.
And so I just got my mind kind of geared in that direction, and I've laid awake the last couple of nights thinking about it, and I just thought it'd be good to talk about.
Absolutely.
It'll help me. This is going to help me prepare my devotion
for the kids. Oh yeah.
For the kids.
Man, I'm so excited about that. It's going to be fun.
That's going to be awesome.
Such a good time. And I'm glad you guys were available. I've tried to get y'all ahead of time that way.
Yeah.
You didn't have anything going on, but yeah, I'm excited about y'all giving y'all's devotionals and just the time it's going to be. It's going to be, changing these kids' lives. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, and I think that the topic of choices is a huge one, especially for kids, especially for the, sophomore, junior, senior age kids that are going to be going out into the world, whether it's college or the job force, because at that age, you don't think that every choice has a reaction one way or the other. And, you think you got your whole life ahead of you and you don't think about it that way.
Right. They seem really insignificant, like who I hang out with and what I do, what parties I attend.
Yep.
A lot of that stuff just seems little. And I think when you're young, you think regardless if it's a bad choice or not, I've got time to right the ship.
Yeah.
But the danger with that is that a lot of times that you don't get out of it real quickly like you think you're going to. And so, like, obviously we know that some of our choices are huge, regardless of, who you are. That, like, where I'm going to go to college is a big choice. Where, who I'm going to marry, that's a big choice.
Yeah.
So you're aware of some of the big choices, but, the smaller ones, like, do I drink with my buddies?
Right.
Do I start smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a big deal until you're 40 and you cannot put them down.
That's
you
good,
know what
yeah.
I mean? So they seem insignificant, but in the long run, they can be huge,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing how they pile on top of each other. Like you said, with smoking, that was one thing I never got into. I remember trying it once and it just turned me completely off on it. But it's amazing how, like, say something like that, oftentimes, especially around here in the lower economic areas, that choice will lead to, I know, like my mom, like, she'll have money problems. And I'm like, well, just calculate how much you pay for cigarettes.
Right.
Every month, every week. And, it gets to that. And then her stress level's up because she's having money problems.
It affects your health.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a lot that goes with it that you don't take into account at 15, 16 years old when you're deciding to start vaping. I mean, because vaping is a big deal now. Obviously that wasn't around whenever we were kids, but now that seems like a big deal.
Yeah.
I know that I've heard, Ben talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Where the kids all at school are vaping or they're selling them and this and that,
Yeah.
And, but we had the same things. I mean, when I was in school, it was weed.
Right.
It was like everybody had, selling weed or had weed, and so, it's just because the substances changed or whatever, it doesn't mean that,
Right.
And everybody wanted to do it because it was cool. Now it's like, it's not, it's almost like they're trying to legalize it and everything, but there's that stigma that was with it when we were kids, was that it was like, you're cool or you're edgy, whatever, you got, what I mean? There was like a thrill to it, just in the fact of doing it, just in the fact of having it. And it's like, so now it's kind of the same thing with the Juuls. There's something about that. Just, I don't know.
Oh, I think that's what, initially gets people into it.
Absolutely.
It's not the want to do it. It's like
the fact that you're not supposed to be doing
exactly.
it.
Yeah. It's a cool factor. And that when I tried it, the one time that's all it was is my cousin's Chuck, bad influence.
Hi, Chuck. I like Chuck.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a good dude.
He was always, it was me and him, man. Me, him, and my cousin TJ, who is the creator of our sound at the beginning, our theme song.
Which he's about to update, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's working on remixing it. Thank you, TJ. Cool. Love you so much. But Chuck was our older cousin, so his influence always trickled down to us. So he was a smoker at the teenage years, so that's what made me want to try it. And that's all it was, is just trying to fit in and trying to be cool with him. But just trying it, like, oh, this is just not for me at all. But even when I started drinking, that was something I did dive into, and it started as a social. That's what it started. I remember, as a teenager, I knew what my grandpa, he was a bad alcoholic, and I just always told myself as a teenager I'd never do that. But then, 22 years old, all my buddies are doing it, and you want to join in and you want to be part of it. If you're hanging out watching a game or whatever. And then, like we said, that choice led to, further problems. Like I said, we, when we struggled with money, it's like, yeah, but we spend $250 every weekend going out.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's, it adds up. And then we're arguing over money because we go out every weekend, and then it just piles on and piles on. And it all started from trying to fit in and trying to be cool. And, and we don't think about that at that age. We think, like you said, we can right the ship. Right. You don't realize there's a hole in the ship. No matter which way you're going, there's a hole in it.
Right.
So, what do you think? What do you think is the biggest wake up call that you had, knowing that, understanding that the choices that you make at a young age are affecting you in your grown up years?
I think whenever I finally, you know, I had to go through some rehabs and stuff. And, you know, I got to a place where I received some deliverance in my life, you know, of some things.
Yeah.
And so then I think the next step is to wonder, you know, how did it get this far? Even in the middle of it, you know, you're kind of like, how did I get this bad?
Yeah.
Or, you know, where did this all start? Where did this stem from? You know, I want to pinpoint where I went wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think in just, you know, reflecting on that and spending time in prayer about it. And, you know, it's like the Lord kind of showed me, man, this started when you were young.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't just wake up, you know, 35 years old, hopelessly addicted to drugs and alcohol because, you know, that's just who you decided you wanted to be, you know, one morning. And so, I could track everything back to whenever I was in my, you know, teenage years, you know, and maybe right around the time I graduated high school and then went into college, because you get that freedom at that age to where, you know, at home you get in trouble for those things, you know, and then you get on your own and you don't have mom and dad there at your dorm room or there at your apartment or whatever, you know, to answer to. And so that's, I think, where a lot of those choices that, you know, I began to make real, you know, that's where I can kind of pinpoint that, you know, is a young age.
Oh yeah. And that it was kind of the opposite for me. You know, it wasn't with sex. It was a young age. It was, you know, 14, 15 years old. But my alcohol was, you know, I was 22 or 23 when my first, you know, drop of alcohol, my first purposely drop. When I was a kid, I accidentally got some of mom's alcohol that she had like in a plastic thing or something. And I drank the whole thing thinking it was like juice. But I remember the split second, which I think I've talked about it before, sitting on the bench at the park during Lee's birthday. And I was so hungover that I couldn't get up to play with her. I was just over it. I was sick and not feeling good. And I remember that moment. That's a key moment in my life. Like I've got to turn this around. Like, you know, these decisions I've been making aren't for me. And of course I didn't. Of course, after that, you know, you go back and you do. But I remember another time where I took Lee out. This is when me and Jamie were split up, and I took Lee out to eat, and she was just so sad and so mad at me because I wasn't around, and I was choosing that party lifestyle over spending time with my kids and my family. And I remember I was like, man, the choices that you make as you're making them, you don't think about the consequences of them. You just think about what you're doing in the moment. It's like nothing else matters. But then that moment, just seeing her so sad and so upset that I wasn't around, completely wrecked my world. Like it broke me. And that was when I decided, like, hey, I've got to get this in order, man. I've got to choose my family over making those stupid decisions and just idiot. And what's bad is you can't get that back. You know, you can always, you know, you never want to look back and regret doing those things because they make you the person that you are, but you can't get that time back, that time lost. You know, when Lee was a kid, I cannot get that back. The time lost between me and my wife, I can't get that back. But you can build on that and you can make better choices and see the things that you did and write that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard. It's so harder. What is it? It's harder to rewrite that history to make it right than it is to just do it right the first time. Right.
My great grandma used to say that, you know, it's easier never to make a habit than it is to create one and then try to break it.
Yeah.
You know, just don't start that, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, we always tend to talk about the drinking or smoking or, you know, the bad thing, but you can make a choice to have use foul language.
Yeah.
You know, you can make a choice to have a bad attitude. You can make a choice to be very selfish in everything that you do.
That's good.
And by the world standards, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you go out there, make some of yourself, have a career, you know, do everything you can. But if you're doing it in a selfish way and stepping over and on people around you, and you know what I mean? If you're, it's not always just about the drugs and alcohol, you know, it goes a lot deeper, you know, your choices, because what happens is those things that we choose to do, that starts to build our character. You know, and so sometimes we can, you know, you can by all the world standards have it all together, but you know, morally and ethically and your character can be severely flawed.
That is good.
It's not always just about the things that are not good for you, whether physically or mentally or whatever, but you can just have a bad character.
Yeah.
And that's things that the Lord wants to change in us too.
Yeah.
Because Christ didn't have a bad character. He was pure.
Yeah.
And he was loving and all those fruits, the fruits of the Spirit that we talk about, those are the things we need to be displaying towards our, our kids and our wife and our loved ones and our friends. And just because we're not drinking, just because I'm not drinking no more, or because I'm not doing this or that anymore, if I'm not displaying all the fruits of the Spirit, then how far have I really come?
Yeah, that's good. That is so good. And I know I always had buddies that were workaholics.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were obsessed with just being away from the house, being gone from their family and just working. And that could be a bad choice. That could ruin your relationship with your wife or with your kids or, with your husband. There's some ladies that are workaholics. Like that's what they want to do. Mm-hmm. But we really do. We have to be mindful of those choices that we make, even if they're not the big ones, the big,
mm-hmm.
whatever we call them, the big mistakes or the big downfalls that we want to point out. A lot of churches want to point out, but they don't want to talk about all these, little ones.
Right.
But man, it could really just cause a negative effect in every aspect of your life.
And then, my wife, she was, the last time she got a chance to preach here, she talked about, anything that you put above, in God's place is an idol. So if you put work in there, that's an idol, and God will remove it. You may still be able to keep your good job and keep that money you're making, but you're not going to have peace in it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're going to struggle and you're going to fight, and it's like that with your children. We love our kids. I mean, we'd do anything for them, but if we're putting them above the Lord, and then we've made them an idol, and that's dangerous for both them and us.
Yeah.
Because we don't want, it says our God, he's a jealous God, and he wants the only one spot, he wants the number one and the only one spot.
Yeah.
And then everything else, there's a level of priorities, that he tells us, it's him, then it's our spouse, then our children. I mean, there's order, God is all about order, but anything, like you said, the workaholic thing, or just, pick a thing.
Yeah.
If anything we put up there above God, man, we're really on dangerous ground.
Yeah, man. And I think that the most dangerous thing, especially for youth nowadays, is they don't realize, because it's a little bit different than when we were kids. Our choices, you can make bad choices, but then as you get older, it's all in memory. It's all, behind us, and we remember those bad choices.
Right.
But what is happening is now a lot of these bad choices that these kids are making are on the internet.
There's a record of it. Yes.
You don't get rid of that. That's,
man, I've something I forget about because I'm like, man, it would have been awesome when I was younger to have, because the crazy things I used to do on like dirt bikes and 4-wheelers and stuff. Like, man, I could have been a YouTube sensation back in the day, but also there was a lot of stuff I did that I am glad there is not, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And so this, especially think about this, think about 25, it's already bad enough with our people that want to run for office or that want to have a public job, they'll dig dirt up on you, and that's just part of it. So I cannot imagine what it's going to be like 20, 25, 30 years down the road when everything is documented.
Yep.
I mean, how would you ever find somebody that didn't have something? Something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is just,
and I think that's what these teenagers, they don't understand that, these things that they think are funny now, these things that, the stupid things that they're doing now, which of course a lot of teenagers can do goofy things, but I mean like blatantly stupid things that you shouldn't be doing.
Right. Illegal things and things like,
and they're out doing it and it's documented and, they're putting it on their Snapchats and all these things and they think that it's fine. It's going to be, but in 10 years, when you go to get a job or you go to, you're graduating from college and you're looking at a career, or maybe you're married and you're looking to move up and to do bigger and better things. And these things come back to bite you, and it's too late now. It's documented. There's no getting away from it. Like it's out there. And I think that many times these kids, they don't think about that. They just think about it in the moment.
Right.
They go and I've seen kids, smoking weed and playing with guns and putting it on their Instagram. It's like, you idiot. Like not only should you not be doing that, but you're like recording it and putting it out there for the whole world.
Right.
Like we've got to realize that every single choice we make, whether it be a small one that nobody knows, that's going to affect you. whether it be the big ones that you're putting out there for the whole world to see. It's going to affect you one way or another.
Yeah.
It's going to help or hurt your witness. It's going to help or hurt your relationships, and it's going to help or hurt your own personal spiritual walk. You know, whether you're a godly person or not, it's going to affect you. It's going to emotionally affect you.
And another, side to that whole story is that, God is going to forgive us. God is just to forgive us, and people are not. People do not forget, and sometimes, people will forgive us and, help, move past it with us, but they don't forget it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the choices just on a relationship level, with the people around us, affect. I can think about all the people that I heard, along the way, and they, my family and some of my, my close friends, they forgive me and they know I'm different, but they haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, there's people that will never forgive me, that, will never, see me other than the way they remember me whenever I was younger.
Yeah.
What I mean? As the alcoholic, as the drug addict, that's just who I'll be to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cause you don't have the opportunity to be around people every day and spend time with them. I mean, I'm saying the ones that are close to me, they get it. There's a change taking place here, but there's a lot of people that I know that I'll never get a chance to show them anything different, and that we talk about regrets, that's probably one of my biggest ones, is
Same.
that, I wish I would have been a better witness.
Yeah. That's the same. Like I turned into, as a kid, I was kind of a loner and I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very, very physically unhealthy, and it made me very internally unhealthy. Like I was a loser is what I would consider myself now. I really would separate myself from the world, and I didn't have many friends and
I can't see that.
Right.
I don't see that.
And, I don't even remember where I was going with that, but
you were a loser?
Yeah. But that was something that I developed and that I became very quickly. And what happened is I became depressed, and that was what I would portray to the world. And that's what I would show myself. And when I remember where I was going.
Okay. Sorry about that.
And when I came out of all that, I lost a bunch of weight, and I started playing ball, and I got into shape, and I guess became popular, became a kid that had a lot of friends. And what happened is I turned into a very bad guy. I turned into a person that the younger me would not like, and that I probably wouldn't treat myself very well. And I became a very bad person. As I began to drink, I really became like a terrible, terrible human being. And there's a lot of people that I was friends with and that I hung out with during that time in my life that I wish, like you said, I wish I could change that perception of who I was. Cause I was a jerk, man. I was a person that I want to punch in the face, right? Like I wish I could see myself Back to the Future style and just punch myself in the mouth, because I was just a jerk. And I wish that I could change that in a lot of people's minds. Cause like you said, I don't get to hang out with those same people and show that change and show that godly love. And it's like the missed opportunities to be able to speak life into those people's lives are something I wish I could redo, rewind and do over, but it makes us who we are now, I guess, just move forward.
Moving forward.
Yeah. And I think that's what this is about is trying to tell somebody out there that the choices that you're going to make today, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. There's a lot of day left. And the choices that you're going to make from here out, from whenever you're listening to this for the rest of the day, can change somebody's life. There are lives in the balance.
Right.
God really hit me with that this week. Just thinking about the youth in general, which I'm gonna be giving my leaders in the youth my vision over what's going to happen the rest of this year and into 2021. And it's very exciting what God dropped into my spirit. And it starts from now. It starts from the choices now. There's a lot of things that I've let in the youth slip through the cracks and kind of become lax on, that God kicked me in the butt and said, hey, like, we need to get back on track, So make today count, I think is what I'm trying to say. Make the rest of the today count and make your choices really worth something.
Right.
Make it not be a day that you look back on tomorrow and say, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that.
Absolutely.
So I think that this was an on-time topic from you again. And because it really hit me. It's something that I think
it's just important to talk about. you know, because I'm not going to say it gets overlooked, but it gets downplayed. You know, there's not a sense of urgency there like what there really should be.
Yeah.
And I think anyone our age or even older than us, you talk to somebody who's 80 years old and, you know, been through it and seen it just about it all, you know, they would tell you choices.
Yeah.
You know, make smart choices, choose to do the right thing. You know, it's not always, doing something. It's the lack of doing something.
Yeah.
You know, you can choose not to do things. You can choose not to, you know, be a good friend, you know, somebody or whatever, you know, not to listen to the Holy Spirit when, the Holy Spirit prompts you to do something for somebody or speak to somebody. You can choose not to do those things, you know? So it's just, you know, we were given that freedom to choose by God.
Yeah.
He wants us to choose to love him. He wants us to choose to be in a relationship with him. He wants us to choose him.
Yeah.
And he wants us to choose to do his work. And that's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You know, we're not made to serve him like the angels are.
Yeah.
You know, we have that free will and it's a privilege and honor, but there's responsibility that goes with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So
That's good. Well, you got anything else on your heart?
man, that's it. That's it.
I love this, man. I think we need to go from 2 episodes a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. We just need to just hit it every day.
I can't do it daily. I'd love to. I would. I mean, unless you want to start, you know, paying me to go up here and do these
you ain't
things.
lying, man. Sometimes it gets busy, and man, I wonder sometimes how are we going to be able to squeeze this out?
But we make it work, man. Right. And I'm telling you, God's blessed me through this. You know, just getting to get on here and share and talk things out, man. It's it's done a lot in my life, you know, and I hope somebody out there is getting some out of it too, because
absolutely.
Because it's been fun.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Love y'all.
All right, hey, remember if you don't have a home church, come check us out at the Lighthouse in Dexter, 8:30 in the parking lot, 10 o'clock inside. We love y'all.